All right. Good evening, everybody. Joe Carollo at Carollo's Corner at it'sallaboutScores.com. It is episode 12 of the Mike Wilson Show. Mike, say hello to everyone.
Hello, everyone.
All right, Mike, big win Friday night. I'm going to say, got to give the Devils due. Audubon played you guys. I watched the video. They played a really good game.
Oh, they're well coached, Joe. They came out. They gave us their A game. We played well on defense. We held them to under 100. But yeah, they did a very good job. Well coached team.
Yeah, they moved the ball. I saw a lot of first downs. They came to play. And if you're listening, I didn't really mean to call you the devil there, Dan. for the record, anybody that knows,
good job.
Yeah, Dan Reed is the head coach of Audubon High School. He's a friend of mine. So, Mike, any opinions on that game? Like, what could you tell us other than you did dominate?
Well, I mean, again, we took care of business. I think we dominated. Could we score more points? Absolutely. But when you look at the big picture, we moved the ball. They really didn't move the ball on us. Our special teams, our kicker was lights out. Punter did a great job that night, Hunter Dragato. So we played well. I mean, it took 3 phases of the game. Sometimes it happens. And guess what? You're in the playoffs. People are going to coach. And Dan did a great job Friday night.
Yes, he did. Moving forward, he got Paulsboro for the second time. We had talked about this. This is every coach's greatest fear, having to play the same team twice. You beat him pretty handily the first time. What are you guys doing to prevent this, second game jinx? Like, how do you approach that?
We're treating this week like we never played them before. New game plans on both sides of the ball. Where we broke them down the last month, and we're tailing everything based on what they have done since they played us. And the kids have been really good. We've had good practices, and I think that's the best way of doing it is. It's very easy as the winning team to roll out there with what you did the first time. And in my past experience, that doesn't work out very well. And so we came in with basically told our coaches a new set of lenses. So we came in, and we literally have treated like we have never played them before.
All right, awesome. Mike, I was going to ask you too. Have you seen Paulsboro since the game you guys played them a month ago? I know they won pretty handily against Manville last week. Were you able to look at the film? Have you seen any difference in their play over the last 30 days?
Yes, I mean they're playing good football. They're winning games. I saw them live against Manville on Saturday. They're throwing the ball a lot more than they did a month ago. They got good players. I mean, nothing for nothing. They're making plays, making good players. They had a great game against Clayton. So, again, we got to come out and be wear A game. We know we're gonna get their A game.
Exactly. Looking ahead to some of the other brackets going on, and what's your take on some of these other games, groups 2, 3, 4, and non-public?
Well, I mean, I'm just looking at Group 1 and the division that we play in. If the favorites win, 4 teams from our division will all be in sectional finals.
Wow. So you're saying Woodbury's going to be a favorite over Shore?
Well, I mean, again, not really. I guess not by seats, but okay, 3 out of the 4 are favorites. But yeah, Woodbury wins, Woodstown's win. We hopefully win. Glassburg takes care of business. 4 teams from our division will all be in a sectional final. That just tells you the kind of schedule we've played all year.
Not just your group, but your division.
Yes. I mean, we just had the All-Star voting, and it's like the who's who of Group 1.
Oh, yeah, no, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Wow. I was going to ask you about that. Shore, Woodbury. Who do you think? I mean, I've seen Woodbury. You've seen Woodbury. I don't know anything about Shore other than I heard they're really big and I heard they execute very well.
I mean, again, we played them last year in a tight game at our place. They're well coached. I know they have a new coach, but he's an alum. He, the guy's name is Klein. He coached at Ocean Township, I believe. Right. So he's come in with pedigree. He's alumni. I know they're doing things offensively a little bit different than they did last year, but they're just well coached, football tradition. Like I told you before, they're like they remind me a lot of Hamilton back in the 90s.
Right. And that's for those of you who don't know, Hamilton was a dominant team back in the 90s, winning 3 out of 4 sectional titles, primarily on a power run game.
Yes.
Yeah. Their run game was all that. They still have a good run game, but back in the 90s, it was.
Oh, yeah. It was king of the wing team back then, my friend. But yeah, so they're well coached. I mean, look, Woodbury's a punch and shot. They got athletes everywhere. That number 8's very good. The quarterback's a sophomore, but he can throw and run the football. 2-3 plays, they can win that game.
Yeah, so no take on these other groups, group 4 or 5, anything that gets your attention going into this week?
No, not really. I mean, just looking at our group and like just realizing our division and how many teams are still alive from our division and like the kind of schedule we played all year already.
Right. I'd like to touch on another thing, and it's been an interesting topic among some people. Thanksgiving games, as you know, have kind of went by the wayside for the most part. However, there's still a good maybe 8 or 9 in our area, and then Central Jersey has a few.
Yes.
It's been a big problem. You have some teams that are finished by Halloween. They have to
Yeah.
hang around till Thanksgiving. The NJSIA, they did a really good thing a couple of years ago. Try to have, and I love this idea, tournaments with the teams that didn't make the playoffs.
Yes.
Again, I'm a fan. I'm going to enjoy that. I still think it should have been an 8-team tournament, make it interesting. From what I understand, coaches and players and fans just weren't into it. Did you get the same?
Well, I mean, again, I mean, I just remember the consolation games. Like I know before they did tournament, the consolation games came out my junior year of high school. So like they did out about 20 years in. And again, you just get these Thursday games, Saturday games. The attendance is low. People don't travel well. I mean, it's hard to get your kids up for a game when you're not in the playoffs. And I understand if you're getting ready for a Thanksgiving game, you want to keep your kids motivated and stuff like that. But my thing, though, is so much emphasis is on the playoffs now and stuff like that. I just think that Thanksgiving games just don't mean as much because you remember this. Yeah. When only 4 teams made the playoffs, Thanksgiving meant a lot more because that was your playoff game.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know. I mean, I think the state's in flux right now, Joe. I think the state's still trying to find its way. We're finally on, year 3 of full state champions. Yeah. I think the state's trying to find its way.
I agree. I was going to add a couple of things to that. I had this idea. Again, this is just me. I love football. More football, the better. Yeah. You get the teams that didn't make the playoffs, and I wouldn't say this if we were back in the past because wouldn't finish till mid-November anyway.
Yes.
You get a tournament of, and here's where I think the state messed up too. They had tournaments of. They did it seeding wise. So you had teams from Middlesex County playing Cape May. Nobody wants to do that on a consolation game. Very bad idea.
Yes.
I would say, hey, don't separate it by group. Get 8 teams that didn't make the playoffs that are similar groups. Put them in a tournament. Have maybe somebody sponsor it, and you get a little trophy at the end. Just something. I mean, again, it's just my opinion. Keeps the kids playing. It gives them something to play for. Like, okay, we didn't make the playoffs. Let's say we're 2-6, but it's the weather's just starting to get good. November's football season, and to be finished by the first day of November, I think it's absolutely horrible.
Well,
not just bad, horrible. Go ahead.
I mean, the other thing too is, when you look at other states and you talk to coaches from other states like we do, like playing an 8-game regular season is not the norm. Most states are playing 10 regular season games.
Yeah, exactly. Like getting done.
You're getting done this weekend is your last regular season game. So then if you don't make the playoffs, Thanksgiving's not that far off anymore. I mean, right. I've said this openly. I've said this to other people. I really think the state needs to mandate a minimum 10-game regular season. Everybody plays week 0 right through like the other states do. Like this, you got teams that play 6, 7 games, 8 games, 9 games before the cutoff. It's a mess.
It is.
I'm just looking at other states. Other states, Virginia, Georgia, the southern states, they all play 10 regular season games. So I don't think there's any reason why we can't do the same thing.
No, I agree because right now, this is football season. I know, we started a couple years ago with the calendar. We're August 24th. To me, I'm like, it's here like August 24th, August 25th. We're playing football. Then November 1st, sitting home. I mean, I know everybody has their opinion. Common sense will tell you there's something wrong with that.
Well, and again, there is. And I think what happened was the state tried to compromise on people who wanted to keep Thanksgiving.
Oh, of course.
So I understand that because, you got teams like Millville Violence playing a long, long time. So I understand that 100%. And again, I would never want to dictate to people not to continue that tradition. But just talking to coaches from other states and stuff like that, they have conference championship games. Then the playoffs start. Like, I don't know. New Jersey, I think, is trying to have this cake and eat it too with the state champions. Again, it's going to sound crazy, but other states do it. You're going to end up playing 15, 16 games if you make it to the states.
Yeah, and it's not. I don't think you need necessarily 15 or 16. I just think, and this is more for the teams that don't make the playoffs.
But if you play 10, and you're getting done this weekend, Thanksgiving's not that big of a deal.
No, and especially if you play, even if you don't play Thanksgiving and you get done November 12th or 13th, that's acceptable. Everybody should have 2 games in November.
Well, that's what it used to be when I was in high school. You played the last game, you didn't make the playoffs. we only had a week and a half before we played Middle on Thanksgiving Day.
Right. Yeah, and even if you don't have a Thanksgiving Day, you could play a few in November. And I understand nobody wants to do a consolation game. I'm the minority here. But yeah, you should maybe have more regular season games or a conference championship. There's something that's got to fill the gap.
Yeah, I mean, I really think what it comes down to is, and also too for playoff seeding, like if everybody played the same amount of games, you want to have some teams. Some teams have really good seasons, and for whatever reason, you got to play more games. And so, again, I just think the state's just not doing service to the kids or the schools.
No, I agree. And I'm not trying to put them down either. They're in a tough spot.
No, I think they're trying to find their way. I really do. I think they're really trying to figure this out.
Oh, they are. So and I think they're trying to give us the ability to have our cake and eat it too, or at least some of the cake.
Yes.
Let's say the big cake everybody wanted was the state championships. Okay, we got that.
I wanted that too, so I'm happy about that.
I also don't want to give up Thanksgiving games, but it's funny. I was the biggest Thanksgiving game advocate until they all started dying. Then I was like, it's like a person or a pet dying. You finally got to accept they're dead.
It's hard. It's we all grew up watching it. I remember being a kid going to see games and playing in the games, coaching the games. Don't get me wrong, it was fun coaching in those games. Like the morning routine with the staff and all that. Like it was. Now I don't coach on Thanksgiving. It's just like weird, like coming home, like not being at the football field.
Yeah, Mike.
I get it, but I just think the state's trying to find its way. Like I said, it's not negative on the state. I just think they're slowly getting there where I think you're going to see a 9-10 game regular season schedule before the playoffs start.
I would hope so. And again, I still love the Thanksgiving games. I still go to them.
I think you can keep them.
I accept that I can't say I accept that they're dead because they're not. I accept what's become. You still have some good ones, and I admire those teams for playing. I just wish, I want my cake and eat it too. I want the state playoff games. I want Thanksgiving, and I want football in the rest of November. Now, I'm asking for a lot of cake.
I really think if we followed other states' models, we would have that.
And I think they might, because they're always, if you notice, the NJSA is always changing things more than ever.
Pennsylvania plays 10 regular season games, I believe. So our next door neighbor there does it, and they have a very good playoff system over there. It's actually very good.
Yeah, it is very good. And I think that we might see something like that. And it gives a chance to get bigger divisions. I'm not a fan of these divisions with 5 teams in them. I think that's it's not enough. And I'll be honest with you, maybe I'm getting greedy. I don't think 6 is enough. I like a good set, at least a minimum, a 7-team division. It gives it more meaning when you play for your division championship. It's not, again.
Yeah, I would like to see, this is just talking football fantasy a little bit. Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing bigger divisions where it's like college football or the other states where you play a conference, like the 1 and 2 seed plays for the Diamond Division Championship before the playoffs.
Yeah, and I love that idea. I remember back in the day growing up, in the same area as you did.
Yeah,
like the Cape. Okay, if let's say a team won the Cape Atlantic national title, it was huge. It was big. It was damn near as important as the state. Now you win these divisions. There's no tradition, which is, I guess, fine. It has to be that way because if you kept traditional divisions, you'd have Group 4s playing Group 1s, and it would be a mess. I understand that, but these divisions have no tradition to them. It's not. Let's say you win the West Jersey whatever division. It's not as a big deal as winning the Olympic American or the Cape American. Or
because those have history in it. Like when I was in the Cape National, or like you said, the Cape American. Like they were just because you play the same teams every year. So being older and being a player and a coach now and seeing both things, I understand that. But I also appreciate the West Jersey Football League.
Oh, it's great. It's awesome. It's awesome.
Because being a small school guy from the Cape Atlantic League, I'm coaching at middle, and we're playing St. Augustine, St. Joe, and Holy Spirit every year.
I remember that.
I just look at middle right now. Middle's had more success in the last 8 years than they have ever had because they're playing schools like themselves.
Yeah, exactly. And it's the West Jersey. It's a great concept. It needs some work. I'm not a big fan of some of the way they schedule things, but hey, there's more good than bad, obviously.
Well, I think so. Just from my own perspective, being a small Cape guy for all those years, where it just was because there just wasn't enough schools in the Cape. You remember that?
No, I remember it wasn't enough. So it's fine. Okay, the traditional divisions had to die, but let's say you get these divisions that have maybe 7, maybe 8. I'm getting more greedy by the minute here, but at least that would mean something. Like, okay, you won a division with 5 teams. The other 5 games you played weren't even in there. It's like it'll give it some meaning. And
I think the other thing too is and I don't know this. This is me speculating. I think the leagues need to sit down with the state, and they got to figure out first what's the state playoff system going to look like, and the schedule has to start matching what the state's doing.
Absolutely. I was just going to say that because even if you'll notice when these new 2-year schedules come out, they
Yeah,
don't match the year that the state comes out with their group findings. It's like one is always a year behind or a year ahead of each other. So let's say you're a group
yeah,
4 school, they drop you to group 3, but you're already playing a group 4 schedule because the league and the state are doing this on opposite years.
yeah,
That's
correct.
the first thing. That's the first thing that's got to be.
Yeah. I mean, so I mean, I just think if you look at the scheduling part and just spitballing, where I think the other states do it better, where their conference scheduling is linking into the state playoff system, one way or the other. So, I mean, I think again, like I said, I think the state's trying because I want a state playoff since I was a kid. I never understood why we didn't have state playoffs in
I don't
football.
know. I don't
I
know.
mean, I still don't understand why we never did. It almost seems like to me that people didn't want the playoffs, so it was like the compromise of not playing North and South. I don't know. It was weird. I never got an answer for that. Why there was never state championship.
All I do know, it was in their constitution. I remember they had to change the constitution before they allowed it.
Yeah, but why did they put it in there? You see what I'm saying? I mean, this is just a person like me, like wondering why that was ever put in there.
I don't know. I'm sure there could have been a good reason at the time. They did say that when this was made up in 74, none of the people that were there were here now. So it was like, they wanted to do it. And they did a great job of getting it done.
Yeah, like what was their reasoning in 74?
I have no idea.
Or why did it take until 74 to have playoffs in football?
No idea. That's something I'm sure there's an answer. I'm sure some old timer.
I'm just like spitballing with you right now. Like, just like, like what's going on here? That's all.
I'd like to know. That would be great. Would be good. Some good research to do. Some
Coach Amar out there, on my staff, find the answer for me, please.
Frank, if you're listening to this, you're on the case. All right, buddy.
Yeah, Frank's good at this. He'll figure it out.
All right. But yeah, like I was saying, by doing these other things, it gives you other titles to play for other than just the state title. So it'll give some teams a chance to win something. Okay, it's not a state title. It's not a sectional title. Don't get it confused. But it'd be kind of cool to win, the Tri-County Diamond Division title. That means something, But we can go on and on. Bottom line, I was saying this to a friend the other night too. These teams that are left that have a month to find games, it's a big thing. They need to group together, form a little coalition, and help each other out. And
I don't blame the state because I've been on both sides of this where they did consolation games and all people did was complain.
Yeah.
So I get it, but I also understand if I'm playing Thanksgiving, hey, I'm a coach. They're teenage boys. Like you got, what is it, today's a set? I mean, you got 20 days, you got 3 weeks.
More than that. Some teams have 4 weeks. You got to have at least 2 games there. And I'm not blaming anybody. There's nobody to blame because we're trying to make a perfect system, which we can't. It's the goal. The goal has to be get as close to perfect as you can without actually being.
You're never going to get perfect, but
no, we're not.
But the thing is, I think like we talked about, I think they're trying to find their way, and every year we get closer. So eventually, hopefully, in our lifetime, we'll see it.
Well, we are getting closer. I do like the way it's going. I just think they have to do something with the month of November, whether it means extend the regular season.
They have to extend the regular season. That's the only because they've already tried a postseason consolation bracket that didn't work.
Right. It's a shame it didn't because it could have given like a team with younger kids something to, hone their skills and get ready for next year. Or a team that has seniors that maybe weren't as talented. Hey, you know what? This is our thank you to you that, you can win this tournament. It might seem meaningless, but it's something. It didn't work. Okay. It's nobody to blame. Everybody.
Yeah.
Tried.
No, they tried. People I really do appreciate. I'd rather people try than not try.
Oh, me too. And again, then I guess just people weren't into it. You can't make everybody like everything you're going to do, but I commend all that tried there.
Yes.
Great job.
I 100% agree. But I think it's you either start the season later, which I don't think they're going to do.
No.
Or you just add 1 or 2 games to the regular season.
Yeah, which might mean putting the playoffs is going to extend into December again, which it should be. It always did.
I think that's what I really think. That's what the state's trying to, and I understand this as a teacher and a coach. They're trying to give kids breaks between sports.
Yes.
So
I'm going to give you my opinion on that.
Not every kid's playing a state title, so you're not affecting a lot of kids.
Number one, you're not affecting a lot of kids. You're affecting very, very little. Okay.
Yes.
So I'm going to put that myth to bed right there. If you look at the numbers, it's very, very little.
Yeah.
Question 2. I have 3 things. Number 2, do they really need a break? Is it necessary? It's a debate. There's no right.
No, not if the kids are taking care of their bodies and the schools are doing other things. No, I don't think so.
Yeah, and again, that all this could, all this is up to debate. There was a third one which I'm not even recalling right now. But listen, Mike, it was great having you on the show again.
Absolutely.
We went into some other good topics tonight.
Yeah, good conversation.
And we will be here for episode 13 next week, win or lose. We're going to do a season wrap up whenever it's over.
Absolutely. I'm here for it. Hopefully we keep going.
Yeah, hopefully you keep going too. Good luck Friday night. Go
Yeah,
Cougars.
appreciate it, Joe. I really do. Thank you.
Problem. Like, guys, everyone, just want to say goodnight to everyone. It's Joe Carollo at Carollo's Corner at it'sallaboutScores.com.
Good night, guys. Thank you.
Have a great night. See you next week. Bye-bye.